Greetings, kindred. Happy new moon. We're coming up to the new moon. But first of all, I wanted to talk about this comet. Just basically, just to make you aware of it if you're not already. So as I was doing my image for the new moon, because I always do the thumbnail from Star Walk 2 app. It's the True Lifetime Sky app. And I just think it's nice to see it. You won't see the constellation here because I've had to zoom in to show you this comet. So this comet is called, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Sushinshan. It's from the Atlas family and it's C-2023A3, which means it was discovered in 2023, just last year actually. But anyway, it's going to come into perihelion or past perihelion on the 27th of September. And its closest approach to Earth will be on October 12th. So I just wanted to give you that information and let you see what the where it's at actually as the new moon begins. So actually, I also want to talk about Mercury. As I said in my last video, Mercury retrograde ended, but it went into post shadow. Now that post shadow will end on the 12th of September. So I didn't give you the date last time, but it was in my Mercury retrograde article. So that will be the end of this Mercury retrograde that we've had in its entirety. So we can all breathe a sigh of relief there because that was quite a heavy one, especially, I don't know about you, but I definitely get brain fog when Mercury's retrograding. So this new moon is just a normal new moon, but then on the 18th of September, the eclipse season starts again. So, at the full moon, it will actually be a lunar eclipse on the 18th of September. And I'll get more into that closer to the time when I do my full moon video. So, as we're coming out of the Mercury retrograde in its entirety, we will be heading back into eclipse season. Like I said, I'll update you all that on my next video. So let's get into the new moon. So the new moon will begin on September 3rd, 2024 at 2:55 in the GMT time zone and at 11:55 in the AEDT time zone. Now in the EDT time zone, New York, the new moon will begin on the 2nd of September at 21:55. So that's in the EDT, so day before. So as the new moon begins, both the moon and sun, which are always conjunct at a new moon, will both be at 22 degrees in Leo. Now I speak about the number 22 because, it is a higher consciousness number. I mean, it is a number that's ruled by the earth itself, or its influence is the earth. So it's very grounding in some aspects, but it is about overcoming self-limitations to reach that level of higher consciousness. So it is kind of like a material number, but it's also about illusion and delusions, especially in Leo, because with Leo, it's really about ego as well and a need for authenticness, really, when it comes to self-betterment. Do you know what I mean? And I'm saying that for a reason, because all the planetary aspects and where they're situated really does support that, this new moon's energy. So, the moon will be in trine to Ceres, which is all about, our empathy, being empathic and supportive emotionally, but also that will be based on our childhood conditioning. So if our childhood was great and we had a wonderful upbringing and we're very self-confident, very much in our self-power, I feel we can be very, very supportive, around those that have had, childhood issues or, especially with Ceres involved here, because Ceres has been quite dominant actually in the aspects over the last few videos. And like I said, Ceres is all about, childhood neglect, abandonment issues, can even be abuse, childhood abuse. So I feel there's a lot of that coming to the surface still, but in Trine to the Moon, it really is about, a lot of triggering around childhood issues or just going with the flow, depending on our self value and how we feel about ourselves. And because the moon is in opposition to Saturn, who's retrograding in Aquarius at the moment, there can be a little bit of emotional depression that surrounds that, or, feeling a bit stagnated, maybe stuck in like relationships that are not really good for us. It also represents a lack of emotional flexibility or a lack of optimism. And, it can be a very burdening energy, but it can also represent a lot of difficulty when it comes to authority, a lot of difficulty around authoritative demands. And also, we do have this T square with the Black Moon Lilith conjunct Venus, which is, it's still an energy of, it's still a shadowy energy. But like I said in my last video, when Venus and the Black Moon are in conjunction, Venus actually balances out the darker aspects of the Black Moon. So it's a good thing that Venus is actually in conjunction to the Black Moon rather than in opposition. I mean, when the Black Moon is in conjunction with the South Node, it just means that, we don't really evolve so quickly. We're kind of stuck in that shadowy energy. So what I'm seeing here is a lot of stagnation, a lot of stuck energy, and it's all connected to our self-worth, especially in the sign of Virgo, you know? So, this new moon really is about our sense of self, our sense of self-worth, our confidence level. Are we in our self-power or are we vulnerable? And, it's quite a heavy T square towards Ceres we have here. So, this little stellium here with Juno as well. And like I've said before, Juno can commit. I mean, Juno's all about commitment, whether we're committed in a relationship or even our career or our job we can be committed to, or anything in life that we feel, an unconditional love for, not so much passionate about, because that would be Vesta's kind of role. And Vesta is at 15 degrees in Leo, in opposition to Saturn in retrograde. So this is like a dampener. So Saturn is the authoritative figure in this aspect. And Vesta is feeling very kind of inhibited by Saturn, by this opposition with Saturn. So again, 15 is about the abuse of power. And, we're kind of seeing that around the world right now. There's a lot of things going on that, people are kind of raising their eyebrows to. Do you know what I mean? Especially here in the UK where I am. So, and I know, it's more a global thing, especially with the nodes involved, because it makes it more societal. And, but let's get back to this T square. So we have this little stellium here in opposition. I'm not going to include the midheaven, but Neptune, who's retrograded in Pisces right now, and the North Node, and creating this T squared towards Ceres. So to me, this is all about blurred lines when it comes to boundaries and our perceptions, about our sense of self. It's like we really are blocked when it comes to our authentic expression, or we're blocked when it comes to our spiritual values. So I think, on the whole, this T square is saying that we can be swept along seductively with the crowd, because Neptune opposition the South Node can be quite, just go along with the status quo sort of thing. And Neptune in opposition to Julo is very challenging, when it comes to, creating boundaries around our commitments. And, there can be an element of escapism there, or being delusional about things. And Neptune in opposition to Venus, well, this is like wishful thinking and distorted perceptions of reality. So, again, it could be around relationships, whether we're in relationships that are not good for us, but we're not really seeing that. Or, what we're seeing is a realistic perception. So I think we need to watch out for that, especially with people around us, maybe. We need to give a little support to if we're seeing that. I just feel that maybe it's a little bit of fear as well with the Black Moon Lilith involved, especially with the Black Moon Lilith in opposition to Neptune. That can create a lot of uncertainty about the future, or even a fear about the future. So maybe we're holding on to, with that saying, it's better the devil we know. But is it? It's like we really need to get in touch with our self-truth with this aspect. And I think the block here is childhood conditioning. And at 11 degrees, this is us, we've really got to come into our self-power if we are in that place of like self-doubt. If we are going along with things, even though we're feeling uncomfortable about it, I just think we need to establish strong, solid boundaries in anything we're putting energy into. So we also have Neptune in opposition to this little stellium, but also creating a T square towards Mars. So it's almost a grand cross, but not quite. I would say, really, this energy is going to be very active this new moon. It's really about us establishing boundaries, with whoever is making us feel uncomfortable, whether that be our work, our career, whether it be authoritative figures or relationships, intimate relationships, or even friendships. If we're not comfortable in any situation, we have the right to stand up and speak out about that. We do have a right to put boundaries down, and, we can get support from like-minded people. So that's what we need to do, is find people that we're on a level with. But at the same time, we mustn't be seduced into things or go along with things. It's like might doesn't make right. It's more about being authentic, being realistic about, where we need to form those boundaries. And yeah, so with this Mars square here, it's really, I mean, even with this T square, it's like unconscious forces are very active. So if we've got healing work to do from childhood issues, then, that's where our focus should be. If we need support with that, I would definitely recommend talking therapies. I just think the focus should be about us standing strong in our own self-identity, in our own self-power. You know, we've also got Mars in quincunx aspect to the goddess Pallas. You know, so this is like the mind says no, but the heart says yes kind of scenario. But it can also be a lack of knowledge or, you know, regarding right action. Because Mars is very impulsive by nature, but in Taurus, he slows down a bit. But there can be like this element of ignorance there. So, you know, and as Mars is in opposition to Ceres as well, creating another little T square here, it's just not quite a grand cross, but very close to. We also have a kite. It's not that one, it's this one here, with Uranus in trine to Pluto, and Pluto's in trine to Venus and the Black Moon Lilith, and the South Node as well, actually. Well, all this little stellium here. I mean, this is quite an overpowering stellium, and it really is about relationships. And I would say, on the whole, it is about intimate relationships. So we could be seeing a lot of breakups going on, you know, with Uranus in trine to Pluto. You know, it is a reforming aspect. And we do have Neptune actually sitting on top of this kite. These are generational aspects with Neptune in sextile to Pluto and Neptune in sextile to Uranus. These are the generational aspects, which makes this particular kite very significant because it's all about reform, reforming social structures. But this trine is also about reformation. And, you know, but this is more about authority. It's about spiritual values, science, and sudden changes happening in those areas. And with the Pluto in trine to Venus here, you know, this who's conjunct the Black Moon, you know, it's kind of emotionally intense aspects. Pluto in trine to Venus is very emotionally intense. But, you know, spiritual regeneration can come through this aspect if we practice the art of unconditional love. But of course, to practice that, we need to be vibrating at a higher level of consciousness. So that is why, to get the best out of this kite aspect, we need to really work on our self-confidence, on our self-power. And with Ceres in the sign of Sagittarius here, it is about, you know, having our freedom, having our, you know, being honest with ourselves. And I just feel that's highly, highly possible if we're kind of being guided in the right direction. So again, you know, there could be issues again coming up around addictions. There could be issues coming up around childhood issues, abandonment, whether it's abuse, neglect, or whatever. But also, you know, when it comes to the now present moment, it could also be about our resources, or it could be authority figures putting pressure on us, or it could just be the economy as well. You know, because we've got Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, in Taurus, and Uranus is also in Taurus in retrograde. So I do feel that, you know, some of us do value ourselves on our status, depending on our charts, our own individual charts. Sometimes we can value ourselves on our financial security, you know, or yeah, you know, material things really, whereas really we should be in our self-power regardless of where we're at in life. Yeah, I would say that it's going to be a pretty intense new moon because we've got Juno here as well. So Pluto in trying to Juno also represents like power struggles, domination. And, again, fear can be the driving force behind that. So it's all kinds of addictions that we need to watch out for. Um, yeah, I would just say, we need to keep the faith. And, because the number 11 is relevant with Ceres, which is a master number, 22 is also a master number. But with master numbers do come challenges. And those challenges are really about us coming into our self power, forming boundaries and, getting into wholeness or holiness, So, yeah, I'm going to leave that there, kindred. And as always, I'm sending you peace and much love. Take care.